Do you think that Russia will send troops onto the mainland of Ukraine beyond the borders with Crimea?
I hope not, and I strongly urge Russian authorities not to do that. But I know that the troops are there, just across the border, available to do it.
You called the NATO meeting under Article 4 of its treaty, which allows for discussions when a member state feels threatened. Ukraine is not a member of NATO.
But
is it Poland that feels threatened?
But we are, and when the territory of a neighbouring country is invaded and its important province under threat of being annexed, we feel that very keenly as affecting our security.
Do you share the view of the President of Lithuania, who warned that it will be, as she put it, I think first Ukraine, Moldova will be next, and finally it can reach the Baltic states and Poland? Is that how you feel at the moment? We
should do everything for that logic to be preempted. But, you know, if Georgia in 2008 was somewhat similar, but we could have said, well, that's a one-off. The Georgian government allowed itself to be provoked to some extent.
You're not going to let Ukraine down in the way the EU let Georgia down.
And by the way, Ukraine has been unbelievably restrained and unprovocative. Well, Georgia should not become a pattern.
You have mentioned one other precedent here today. You said the people of Poland and peoples of the Soviet Union paid a horrible price in the 20th century for a war that started on the pretext of protecting national minorities. I hope we have all learned lessons from how dangerous it is. Is it your contention that Putin's Russia is acting as Hitler's Germany did in the 30s?
Well, and Britain gave us the security guarantees in April 1939 that, as you know, were unfortunately not acted upon. Those are very dangerous precedents, very important principles. As
you don't resolve from that analogy. You think that Europe needs to take it that seriously?
We have agreed, I think, after World War II and after the Cold War, that issues to do with minorities, with ethnic rights, are to be resolved through the Council of Europe, through the OSCE, and just like you did in Ulster, through overcoming borders, rather than brutally changing them.
Is there a peaceful way out of this conflict? Can it all end without a shot being fired on either side?
Yes, it can, but only one man can decide to do that, and that's President Putin.
Are you setting that too high to say that, because you're asking him to humiliate himself, aren't you?
No, we are all in Europe and the United States asking President Putin to revert to respecting international